I am not a professional. The following video is for reference only. Hey everybody, I'm just starting on my winch mounting for my 2019 Ford F-150 XLT 4x4. It's the 3.3 V6. So I bought this hidden winch mounting kit from Rough Country, along with this 12,500 pound winch. And it's from a company called ACDK, and it's got synthetic cable on it. So what I'm going to do for now is just mount the winch on the plate on the inside, and ideally, or how this system works and the way it gets hidden is on the V8 models and the 3.3 V6 liter models. There's no intercooler. So with no intercooler, there's all that space behind the front bumper, and that's where that's gonna sit. Yeah, so this kit says V8 only. I suspect it's gonna have no issues fitting on the 3.3 because there's no turbo or intercooler on it. But stay tuned, we'll see how that works out in the end. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start mounting this. The winch mounts with 4 bolts included with the winch. You can see the nuts have already been inserted inside the holes, all 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and they'll align with the 4 holes here. Obviously you would want to use the bolts that come with it. They're high grade. You wouldn't want to use something subpar, especially with a winch with that much power. So I'm just kind of eyeballing all the holes. So that's it mounted on the plate. And that's what it's going to look like from behind. It's going to come with all the other pieces required to mount it securely to the frame of the truck, but I'll go through that when I get the front bumper off the truck. So I'm under the truck, behind each fog light. There's these clips. I'm gonna take both of them off. And then the wiring harness runs along the backside and it's connected to the bumper. And I'm gonna use a clip tool and pull those off. I'll get back to you. I wanna take off the nut here on the passenger and the other one on the driver. And it's a 21 millimeter, so I'm gonna do that. All right, so I'm under the truck again, got those 221s off. Trying to show you where that is. I'm having issues right there. So I took one off on the driver's side, one off on the passenger side. I didn't bother trying to get my impact up in here. So I just used quarter inch ratchet. Okay, so now we're back up top. These plastic things, obviously I took the plate off and my deer whistles, but these I just pried off using a trim tool. It's just got the clips. So the clips all stayed in, we're good. Other side was the same. And then I took a Sharpie and drew circles around these 4 big bolts. Oh, I'm gonna put some more on that one. And what this is going to help with is when we put it back on, I can make sure it's aligned in the same position. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the 4 nuts with my impact gun using a 21 millimeter socket. All right, so we got the bumper off. I just have it sitting there on the snowmobile jack. So this is what the nuts were on. It's connected together, it can fall behind. Obviously the 2 are connected together. The other one dropped, I just picked it up and put it back in. And this is why it's crucial to have those alignment circles that we drew on the bumper. And when we mount it all back up, we can make sure it's where it should be. Okay, so next the tow hooks are coming off. It's a 15mm socket, but the boot was covering, which is kind of like a nice design when it comes to the spoiler underneath the truck. It fits in those slots. So the boot removal is easy. You just pull it straight forward and it comes down. And then I'm using a 50mm socket from underneath on my impact. Okay, so we got the tow hooks out and the 2 bolts and the washer assembly. So then we go and find the gussets that are inside the kit. Make sure they go the right way, and we're going to re-secure this, starting with the back one. And just the back one, because then we can slip the tow hook back into the back nut, put the front one in, and we're going to reinstall the whole assembly. I'm going to try and videotape this. I don't know how it's going to work, just so everyone can see what's going on. Okay, so I'm going to take my gusset strap, take the rear nut, or bolt, I should say, put it in a hole, make sure the nut's on it, and get that started by hand. Get started by hand, and let it hang. Take my tow hook, take the other bolt. I'm going to take this part, put the head of the bolt through it, and then secure it by pulling forward. Take the front nut, the bolt I should say, put it through the hole, into the nut. Get it finger tight. I'm sorry for the bad angle on this. I need to get a better tripod for my camera. I'm gonna sit you on the floor. First nut or bolt, second bolt, gusset, toe strap. They're both finger tight inside the nut. I need to keep them loose so that we can adjust when we put the plate down. So I just went ahead and backed off the bolts just a bit, so they both have some play, and then we can maneuver the winch plate after. To help me line up the holes, okay, so I got it lined up. I kind of had to angle it down in and then up. Tighten the hooks with the plate, with the gusset. And then I tighten the gusset. Those are 19-inch. I put a wrench on the inside, and I use my trusty old impact on the outside. It says 90 foot-pounds for these guys and 40 foot-pounds for these guys. As you can see, I dressed them with some Loctite. And I'm going to do some more video underneath. Obviously, I got some wiring to do. Pretty much just the controller and to the battery remaining. So I'm going to get started on the next step. I have to remove these bars, which the license plate holder sat on. So I'm going to figure out how I'm going to cut those out. So we're going to use a very delicate, precise tool in order to make it look good. Sawzall. So those are cut out. Next, we're going to mount it onto the truck. So bumper's back on. Lined it up the holes, the 2 front bolts, and put the covers back on. Getting a little hot. So I just got to go in and put the 2 bolts in behind, reconnect the fog wires, and then it's on to wiring. But it's looking pretty good so far. Lights on. As you can see, I put some Loctite on it. And I reconnected the fog lights. There was water coming out of the harness here, and my best guess is that there was a little opening under the connector where it had separated the tape from the conduit. So I just retaped that in hopes that we're not going to get more water in there. Something I might revisit in a year or so. I live in a cold environment where there's lots of snow and ice. So if water gets in there and it freezes, that could cause issues eventually. And then here's the back. Power steering hoses are kind of rubbing, so I'm going to get some zip strips and try and zip them off so they're not constantly rubbing on the winch, eventually wearing through. But it fits well. There's lots of room. There's clearance for everything. And there's still more room in here. This could be an even bigger winch, but it's already a 12,500 pound winch. I don't think we need bigger than that. So now I'm going to get some zip strips and clean this all up and wire it up to the battery. Okay, so here I am out of the truck again. And I got things tidied up a little bit. I got these hoses zip stripped up out of the way. And the power line's heading up top, but nothing's dangling. I even moved this one. It was kind of rubbing on the control box a little bit, so I didn't want it to, over time wear out. So I think it had these duplicator hoses to run along beside it. I'm pretty sure that's for a truck with an intercooler, so they just don't bother deleting that. So it works out well. I just anchored around that to the cross member here. This way I'm not putting too much pressure on the hose by just wrapping a zip strip around it. I think eventually that would wear through. So anyways, everything's got lots of clearance. There's lots of room back here. So we'll just keep buttoning up. Everything's all straightened up underneath and the front's on. We're gonna put on the plate. I drilled 2 holes for my special mod. I will show you guys that as we go. The next step's gonna be to put the controller in the controller spot. Okay, so the front plate's on with a great amount of difficulty. Make sure when you trim your license plate bracket, you do a extra good job. This seems to be more designed for a 2017 model or lower. Took a little bit of modification to get it on the 2019. This trim piece, I'm not even putting it back on. I think it looks fine without it. In fact, I've been taking the goo off of the underside of it, and the chrome is nice. So I'm going to just leave it as is with a little bit of scrubbing. So the battery is connected. I tested it with the remotes, it works. Also, I had to bury the three-point extension that comes with the kit, which is fine. I'll test the remotes before I go anywhere I'll need them. And worst case scenario, I can reach under the truck and manually plug it into the winch itself instead of using this little extension cord thing they gave you. Otherwise, I'd have to cut a big hole in the bumper. Even if it was reversed, it doesn't seem to really fit. I'll be leaving a comment on the Rough Country website about the fitment of this. Anyways, as always, there's a little customizing to do. A few more steps, and I'll try to keep everyone in the loop. So I got the hook on. I put the fuse on. It's connected. It works, which I will demonstrate eventually. Now, I talked about how I wanted to do something like a little mod. So what I really like about this kit is that it's low key, it's incognito. So what I really wanted to do is kind of hide it. Now, I'm not going to go to great lengths, but I ordered this plate off of eBay, I believe. I'll try and find a link for you guys. Anyways, it's a spring-loaded plate holder off of a Jeep. And I'm going to screw it on there, and my plate's going to flip up and down. So when I want to use the winch, I'm going to flip it up, maybe with a kickstand or hold it up with a bungee cord, expose the winch. But when I'm not using the winch, it's going to be tucked in behind the license plate. So I'll get that together and see how it looks. I'd like to hear from you guys in the comments, so let me know what you think about it. All right, so here's my license plate solution. This is after. The winch is on, but it's hidden behind that plate. So I got to figure out some sort of solution. I'm probably just going to end up bungeeing up the plate when I want to use the winch. And worst case scenario, if I'm in a real stuck or tough place, or the winch needs to go higher than the plate can go, the plate's coming off. But for the most part, And it'll just stay like this. It's spring loaded. So let me know what you all think. I'll do a quick video with it operational at the end. I think it's pretty slick. Obviously I'm not stuck, truck's in neutral. I just used a branch for a kickstand to hold the plate up. So we're hooked up to just a little tree, and this is just a functionality test. Obviously no real big pressure. Okay, so it's wireless. Turn the remote on. Well, that's my video on installing this winch. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to give me a like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more of my truck. Thank you.